Hello, hello, hello. It is Friday, everybody. All day, March the 24th. How you doing? How are you doing? I hope you're doing good. Doing great. If you have questions, put a Q before the question so I don't miss it. That will be very helpful to me because it is a Q&A today. We do these for free every, I don't know, a couple of months, I think. So yeah, I will answer any questions that you may have. If they're good ones. Even the bad ones, I'll probably answer. Even the personal ones, I'll probably answer. Depending. But I hope you're doing good and great. The rain has ceased for now in San Diego, which is good. I can't remember who said it on the last stream. They said, why do I always wear black? Well, I don't all the time, do I? Do I? No, not all the time. I don't all the time anyway, just a lot of the time. But today I thought, bow down to social pressure and go, okay, I was going to wear blue, dark blue. But I thought, hey, let's go for a white shirt. But who have we got on the chat? Nestor is here on Facebook. Welcome, my friend. Great to have you here. Vanda is here as well. Welcome. I can't remember which one it was. Was it Vanda or Vanda? I know I got it right last time, but I said both pretty close, so I cannot remember. But welcome, my friend. I will answer this question later on, but welcome, Christine. Great to have you here. Tanya is here as well in the private group. Wow. But also on YouTube, saying hello, Joseph, Mr. C, and everyone. Mr. Cuddles is eating right now. We had a mad minute. I'm doing wonderful, thank you. Wonderful. I had a couple of days off running this week. But I had a good 4 miles yesterday. And I walked out today. So that was good. And then next week, my brother, my sister-in-law, my niece are visiting from England. They're flying over Wednesday, so Wednesday I'll be here. But I hope to be here. I should be here. Just got to check on the times, because I've got to pick them up from the airport. And then I'll have Friday off, because we're sightseeing. Monday will be off as well, because I'll be out and about sightseeing again. We've booked some places, some tickets. So that's going to be fun. They've never visited me since I've been here, because the kid was too young. Hey Caroline, great to have you here as well. Welcome, my friend. You heal quickly. Listen to the healing hypnosis. You never know. You never know. Hey Debbie, great to have you back as well. Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. I'm doing good. It's Friday, right? It's not my favorite day of the week. Sunday is my favorite, because it's lazy work day. But I'm going to the cinema tomorrow, so that'll be fun. I haven't gone to a cinema for ages. And it's one of those luxurious ones, you know, when the chairs go back and they bring you drinks and food. So that's going to be cool. I get to do my group coaching call tomorrow. That'll be fun as well. from the UK. Welcome, welcome. Did he? Kevin said it. I knew someone said it. So I thought I'd break the darker color clothing. We could keep a little bit of the black though. A little bit of the black. Hey Renee, great to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. MZ is here as well. But which one is it for me though? Is it with more of a R or a A? Vanda? I'm doing it like overtly, or Vanda. I said both last time, but you said I was right, but I cannot remember which one was right. Vanda with more of a A or more of a R? I'll get to that question when we get to that. I've highlighted it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I haven't really noticed too many differences. Oh, I haven't been conscious. But I guess it's the sun, right? Like, it makes you warmer if you're wearing black. Remember you get in like a hot car when you're a kid? And if the seats were black, it would be really, really hot. Welcome, Med. Great to have you here. Yeah, there's always going to be a slight delay depending which one you do, because they're being sent out to different streams, so whether it be on Twitter, LinkedIn, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. And then within the Facebook, different places on Facebook, like the page and also my profile and also my private group. There's always going to be a little bit of a delay. On average, it should be around 10 seconds from when I go here to when you get it. So I'm in the future. And that's why getting comments in can be a bit of an extra delay, because I could go and answer a question and then there's a delay on the comment coming in. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it now. It's just creeped up. I thought it was a few weeks away yet. It'd be cool though, because I'll be seeing them and then I'll be seeing them over here, but then I'll be going over back to England and Maine. So I'll get to see them and stay with them all over again. The movie. So someone bought me the tickets and surprised me. And it's John Wick. If you don't like violence or action movies, I probably wouldn't see that one. But yeah, someone was kind enough to buy me tickets, so we'll be hanging out. Hey Karen, great to have you here, all the way in Canada. Look at this. I want to tell you that I've been doing a weight loss hypnosis. I've been catching myself telling me exactly what you've said in hypnosis. Since November, I've lost 42 pounds. How cool is that? That's so kind of you. Thank you. If you're listening on the app, please write something like that in the review section of the App Store, just so we can encourage more people to listen. Or leave a comment on YouTube. Because people go, like there's someone on YouTube left a comment saying, I don't know if hypnosis works. I might give this video a go. But when they see things like that, they go, well, maybe this is not Joseph saying it. This is a person who's using it. And equally, my friend, you deserve, we haven't done this for a while. You deserve lots of celebrations too, so congratulations. Congratulations. We might even go a little bit crazy and go, because we haven't done this for a while either. You get, because it's Friday too, all the celebrations to you. Look at those people cheering for you. Congratulations. And thank you ever so much for your kind words. More of a A. So that'd be the Vanda. More of a A. We've got someone from Denmark. Welcome, Linda. I really enjoyed my time in Denmark. Where did I go? Oh my goodness. It'll come back to me. Where are you from, Linda, in Denmark right now? We may have passed by without knowing. Where did I go in Denmark? Where's the Little Mermaid structure, artwork? It'll come back to me. Oh, thank you ever so much. That's kind. Very kind of you. Yeah, I thought I'd mix it up today. Although with this more orange, not orange light, more of a flame kind of light has taken out some of the white. Hey Michelle, I'm doing great, thank you. Great for you to be here. Welcome. Always a pleasure to have you here. Mrs. I've been listening to your Hypnosis Sessions playlist every night for the last week. I don't know what I listened to as I was sleeping, and I don't know what's happened to me, but certain things changed. There we go. I'm so pleased you're enjoying my work. Here's going to be episode 808. 808. Okay, that's more... I'm going to answer that as a question on the podcast when we get to it. Yeah, that's so awesome, isn't it? Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. That's such a good celebration, and it's therefore even you become the example of what can be done. That's crazy amount, right? Where was I? Here we go. Hey Jojo, great to have you here as well. It has been a while. Great to have you here. Welcome. Yes. Depending, because I might have to edit it, and if I'm too lazy to edit, I'll edit and put it on the podcast. So if you got questions, put a Q in the chat. Hey Christy, welcome back as well. We're getting a nice, we got 30 people on the live stream. In all the different places. Welcome. Leah is here all the way in Australia. All the way in Australia. Your Saturday. I am doing wonderful, thank you. I was just saying, next week, this coming week, my brother, sister-in-law, and my niece are coming over to visit for a few weeks. We're going to do all the touristy things, and then go up Big Sur. Then I'm going to send them on their way to Sedona, and then they'll come back to me after Sedona. Hey Rosetta, great to have you here from Canada also. See, we get all over the world. All over the world. You're most welcome. Superstar is in the house. You're most welcome. Always a pleasure to do the videos, and that was me speaking on the delay. Let's see. Watch out, because this next week I am releasing even Anxiety release, stop alcohol, quit smoking, fear of failure, release negativity, and the become resilient one as well, which we did on Wednesday, but let's see. It sure is. Usually I start streaming at 11 p.m, but your times, or our times, because I'm still English, don't change till midnight this weekend. So I spoke to my app developers, and they've actually come up with I don't know if it's an initial fix, but they sent me a video of the initial fix, and it works for them, so they need to send it to me. So hopefully we can get that out as soon as possible. And then we can correct it fully. So it'd be like a temporary fix to make sure the audios appear on the Android, on some Android apps. So I want to get that out as soon as possible. So bear with me. And then if they solve all this, I'm going to put a ton of money. I put thousands aside as to what I want to add to the app next. So it's going to be fun if we can do that. Copenhagen, that's it. That's where I was. I love seeing all the parents biking with their kids when they've got that big thing at the front. But you're in the south coast in The Little Mermaids in Copenhagen. Yeah, that's what I saw. I will answer that question soon, Susie, just so you know. You can ask all the questions. Where I'll answer all the questions, we have time for all the questions, maybe another thing. So Big Sur, it's actually S-U-R, and it's I don't know when it exactly begins, but let's say it's above LA. And then you go all the way up the coast, and I guess, I don't know like when technically it starts and finishes, where we like Santa Cruz maybe, or beyond. But it's this real scenic drive. You're on the coast, the highway, and it's going to be amazing. I've done it 3 times. Went camping once, but there's a waterfall, which I love, and lots of cool towns, so like Santa Barbara. I love Pismo Beach. Other places I cannot remember. No, we haven't started yet. I'm definitely still talking. The Grim Grim is here. Welcome, my friend. So you're from Norway, okay. I'd like to go to Norway. I'd like to go to Sweden. I want to see the Northern Lights. Supposedly the Northern Lights were viewable recently even like in New York or something. Okay, I'll answer that one soon. Yes, I was waiting on you. Hence the applause. I'll answer that question soon. See, look. We chat for a while. Hey, Hannah, great to have you here. Are you new? I'll answer that question soon. Hey Dylan, great to have you. What accent do I have? I live in the UK, but I cannot work it out. I'll answer that one now, because that's more of a personal one, and I'm not sure everyone want to know on the podcast. What I could do. But I'm actually from Cambridge, England. I'm from Cambridge. I grew up there. My family's from Cambridge. And my accent has changed. Not because I was in America, because I've been in America for like 7 years, so it may have changed a little bit. But it changed before that, and I put it down to hypnosis. Like trying to be conscious of the voice when you're doing hypnosis is important for tone. What's the word I'm looking for? Inflection? What's that word? I can't remember. But yeah, actually from Cambridge, which is around, you know where it is. Southeast-ish, above London, to the right on the map. About an hour train journey from London, King's Cross. Our Christiana bike. Okay, they're cool bikes. I want one of those, and I could put Mr. C and my dog in one. Yeah, I'm going to go up to Carmel, and the one next door to it. Yes. Yes. Oh, you do actually, don't you? My granddad actually is from Yorkshire, so in England still, as you'll know, but for everyone else from England, and he was a police officer, and he once saw the Northern Lights in that area of the world. So yeah, I want to see the Northern Lights. Who else does? Yeah, hypnosis has definitely changed the inflection. That's the word I was looking for. I knew it was a flexion, so inflection maybe, of my voice. Because, do you know how I began to speak? How I began to speak? Maybe I should learn to speak first. Do you want to hear Young Me very quickly? We played it for some people before. Here we go. So let me turn this down for a second. This is Young Me on radio when I was about 18 years old.
Well, we work with the unconscious mind.
Unconscious
and the unconscious mind does run the smoking behaviour. So we really harness the unconscious mind to let go of the whole smoking behaviour without actually gaining weight or any withdrawal symptoms.
So it is just how it sounds. You'll put someone in a trance.
Yes, definitely. But we do out-of-trance work stuff too. We practice advanced levels of NLP, which stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And it's a great way of retraining your mind to think, act, and behave differently.
How'd you get into this?
Well, it was a good story, actually. I was in insurance, so that's one excuse.
That'd be handy for selling your policies, really, wouldn't it?
Exactly. And,
So that was Young Me. So, I felt like I'm a bit cockney there. I feel like I was a bit cockney. Oh, nice. I've got my 23andMe. And my mum just got one, and we found out she's like half Scottish. She never knew that, because she's adopted. I did not. I'm not answering that one now, but I did not go any voice training. It's just hypnotizing people for 22 years and teaching it, being conscious of what I'm trying to get across. I believe that's where it is. It could have been other things, but because some people say I've got a little bit of South African or Australian accent. I know a lot of the Australians and South Africans will go, no way. But people have said, am I a bit English? Am I a bit South African? A bit Australian or New Zealand? There we go. I knew it was happening. I couldn't go all out there though. Hopefully it comes back when I'm up there a bit more. Okay. What? I'm just to check this question. What would you advise for hypnosis technique? So, I can't really answer that one because I can, but I won't answer in the podcast because most people aren't learning hypnosis like yourself as a practitioner or are wanting to be like a full-time practitioner and so on. What advice would you give for a technique or method to help learning new things in music? What advice for a hypnosis technique? So everything is a strategy. So think about what you learn well. What is the strategy for absorbing information? It's more NLP. What is that strategy? Or model someone who is good at music, more importantly, who is an expert, and then understand their process, and therefore you'll be able to absorb it. If we can broaden it out for everyone here, if you want to get better at anything, find the person who's really good at doing that. Even if it's letting go of your issue, someone who had the issue doesn't have it anymore. If someone had a phobia and then let it go, and I want to let go of my phobia, I'd want to know how they did it, whether they're consciously aware of it or not. They've got a strategy. So maybe I could answer that question in the podcast, but I would be looking to model people and then install that via processes through visual rehearsal, like the swish pattern, some modality work, anchoring, hypnotic reprogramming of the strategy. That's what I would do. Yeah, it may have a bit of a twang as well, which I seem to have had for a long time as well. I've always had a twang. Not always, but since I've been in hypnosis, definitely a twang. Yeah, it's totally different, right? Here's me right now speaking normally, as normal as I can be while I'm doing a live stream.
Well, we work with the unconscious mind, and the unconscious mind does run the smoking behavior. So we really harness the unconscious mind.
So it's definitely different from how it has been. Oh, not much of a difference. Some people think big difference, some people think no difference. Not much of a difference. There you go, see? Oh, nice. I've meant to be a little bit on... I can never say it. Nathandral. Nathandral. Those. True. Then I'll do that what I said then. I will be answering that question as well. I've highlighted it already. It'll be for the podcast episode. So, and we'll get into that in a second, actually. So if you have questions, put them in with a Q in front, and I'll make sure... actually, that's a slightly different question, I think, from you asked. But I'll favorited it. Got that question already, I believe, on the email. Well, thank you ever so much. That's that. I'm a bit that. I'm a bit that. Nice question. I'll answer that in a few moments. Oh, interesting question. I don't mind the personal ones as well, so feel free, within reason. So let's get into the episode. I originate from a bit of a South France. The Cloughs. If you look on, like, I saw it on Wikipedia, there was like the Clough clan. And they were like right next to the water, supposedly. Because I've mapped my genes back to like the 1400s. Great question. I'll get that in the queue. Hey Laura, great to have you all the way in Ireland. How you doing, my friend? We're about to start. We're about to start the podcast. If you've got a question, feel free. Now I'm going to switch over to those questions. So if I don't answer your questions, because it's on a different tab, still put them in the chat and I'll get to them when we get to it. Okay? So we'll see what happens. I'm just trying to think of the best way of doing this, which will be good question. For the editing, I might just click my finger here and there to make it kind of spike. That's what the clappers are for, you know, in the movies. I don't know if they just go, not. but that's what they do. So you know where the audio timing is and the video timing. So I might have to do a quick version of that if we want this as a podcast episode. And since they're great questions, I think it'd be nice to do just that. So let's get to it. Are you ready? Episode... I said 808, didn't I? So let's get to it. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 808. Now, in today's episode, we are doing a Q&A. So always feel free to join us on youtube.com/Joseph Clough if you would like to ask me questions. We usually do some a bit before the stream, but we're doing like a dedicated stream here. And the good thing about questions are you don't know that you may have the question that you want until someone else asks that question, right? So within my program, when we do our group coaching calls, which we do like pretty much every week, people go, oh my goodness, I had that question, but I didn't even know I had that question. So as you listen to this episode, if you listen to another podcast or you listen to the replay on YouTube, or if you're here live on YouTube, I'm going to try to explain some of these questions in a broad way and a specific way that will give us the ability to apply it to yourself. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So let's go ahead into it. Now, one of the first questions I got was, if you're wanting to learn more about NLP, and if you don't know what NLP is, it stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And it was actually modeled based on psychotherapy and hypnosis. So it has its ties to hypnosis, like Dr. Milton Erickson. And then Richard Bandler, John Grinder, studied this family psychotherapist called Virginia Satir, and also Dr. Milton Erickson, who did the hypnosis. And ultimately, they came up with this idea of how to help people, and they called it neuro-linguistic programming. Think about it as using language to reprogram how your mind works. So it's almost like linguistic, program, mind. So I kind of just summarize it in that way, with a neuro, the brain, the linguistic, the language, and programming. So they asked me, if you want to get into it, like learning NLP, like say you didn't want to do an NLP training of mine, you just want to like kind of have a good idea of what NLP is. Some of the books that I found really, really good and helpful are, for example, Steve Andreas and Conray, Change Your Mind and Keep the Change. Now, Steve Andreas, who passed away just like a year or two ago, was someone I really wanted to train with. Unfortunately, I didn't, but he's one of the biggest contributors who I really enjoyed a lot of his books. For example, another good book, which would be with Conray and Steve, would be Heart of the Mind. I love that book as well. And then another one by Steve Andreas, which is probably the main one you want to get into, which is Transforming Yourself, Becoming Who You Want to Be by Steve Andreas. So I really like his books. But if we think about the co-founder of NLP, I really like this one, which is called Using Your Brain for a Change by Richard Bandler. Okay, actually forwarded or edited by Conray and Steve. And another really good one by Richard Bandler, which is How to Take Charge of Your Life, the User's Guide to NLP by, as I said, by Richard Bandler. And my book, although I'm not really like, it doesn't teach you NLP, a lot of it is NLP, just so you know, Be Your Potential. But I would definitely go for those other ones if you want to go to a lot deeper into it. And ultimately, that will give you the education that you really, really need. Okay, so if you want to just kind of get into it, that's what I would absolutely suggest. Okay, so that's the first question. Now let's get to some of the other questions which were on the live stream. So one is, can hypnosis even help you achieve a goal and desire? 100%. If you think about all the hypnosis sessions, it's about letting go of a problem, and therefore there's an outcome to be free of it. And the way I say things is, ultimately that if you're unable to change yourself, it must mean the unconscious mind is running the behavior. Whether it be the anxiety, worry, doubt, or whether it be going for a goal, but you have procrastination, you have the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of success, the fear of what other people are going to think. It could be a lack of motivation. Well, to me, that's all unconscious. Otherwise, you'd click your fingers and you'd let it go. If you cannot let go of it yourself or achieve the goal with least resistance, which would be the fear, worries, and doubts and anxieties, hypnosis is perfect for it. I've done that in many different ways, where it be putting the goals out in my future when it comes to the podcast, where it be financially. I have a goal every single month what I want to hit, and I'm pretty consistent with it, even in economical changes, because I am in tune and deeply aligned. And if I get my mind in the right place and my unconscious mind is following, I'm 100% aligned. So if you think about it like that, let's say on the one hand, you really want to achieve that goal. But on the other hand, there's a part of you, the unconscious mind, going, can we really get it? Maybe it's the voice of our parents saying, oh, you're never that good at school. Or what do you think? Money grows on trees. So all those stories, all those beliefs, all those emotions like the anxiety and the fear, all the behaviors which have been ingrained on us for the self-sabotage, that's the unconscious mind on that hand. Now, it's trying to protect you, of course. It's trying to keep you safe, but it's not achieving that goal. So if we're going for that goal on the one hand, but that other hand is like pulling you back, then there's an incongruency there. So we use hypnosis to get that part of you, that hand, which has all the resistance, to be in alignment with the other part of you, which is the conscious mind, to achieve the outcome. So hypnosis is profound in achieving your goals and your dreams in every single way. So hopefully that answered that question. If not on the live stream, go ahead and add another one. Debbie says, I'm listening to your nighttime transformation and love it. Should I do this every day and for how long? Really good question. I get this on comments on like YouTube and so on, and some, of course, emails. My suggestion is 30 days. Whether it's a day hypnosis or a nighttime one, I like getting that consistency. You got to think about it. Like someone actually said on a comment, oh, I listened to this quit smoking hypnosis session for like 2 nights and it didn't really work. I'm like, seriously, how long have you been smoking for? Maybe for that person, it was months, years, decades. It's going to take maybe a little bit longer if you're just listening to an audio more than 2 days. And especially if we go deeper when it comes to things like anxiety and confidence issues, they're more identity issues. It's not just habits. So make the time to put the time in. So I suggest, really, if you found the root cause of the issue, you know what you're working on, you're not just working on the symptoms, I would say listen for 30 days. I'm going to do a side question to this which wasn't asked. So if you've got the app, some people say, well, can I listen to more than one hypnosis session on 2 different subjects? My priority here would be working on the one which is most meaningful or the most impactful for letting go of something. So if they were very separate, like say I have anxiety, but I also have a lack of gym motivation, maybe the anxiety, let's get that done and it may help you with the gym, right? So it could be there. The only slight disclaimer to that would be if you're listening to say like an anxiety and a confidence one, yeah, you can alternate each night or each day if you wanted to, because they're fairly similar in the nature of the issue. So if the issues are very separated, I would focus on the one which will make the biggest amount of change, which could have an effect on the other. Or if they're very closely connected, then you can go ahead and alternate those sessions. But going back to the question, I always suggest for 30 days or nights. So Christine says, listening to your voice, not sure if I'm to relax in hypnosis or stay focused. Great question. These are all going to be great questions, by the way. I don't really mind what you do consciously. Now, most people who experience hypnosis will drift and dream. It's almost like you're there, but you're not there. Sometimes you'll be more present and go, oh, I heard what Joseph said there. And other times you'll drift off into a dream and have no idea what I'm saying. That's absolutely fine. Sometimes we've got to get out of our own way. So being too hyper-focused consciously, you're getting in your own way. I want to almost sometimes bypass your conscious mind and therefore work just with your unconscious mind. So be relaxed, allow yourself to drift and dream. And that to me is the best one. As long as, like I said, you're not like hyper-focused on having to listen, that means you're not in the state of absorption. You want to be open. So where information can go into the unconscious mind between your thinking, the space between thoughts. So that's what I would suggest on that one. So I got a question from Susie saying, my grandkids that I have custody over are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress syndrome or disorder. Would you suggest hypnosis for them? And they're aged 11 and 13. This is something that I would always get a recommendation from a general practitioner. It's important that, we're working with children here. Now, I've had people email in saying that they've listened to or their children have listened to my work with great effect, or they're listening to the podcast and their esteem has sky high rocketed. But we are talking about post-traumatic stress disorder right now, which means, there's some stuff, there's an energy there. So you could go ahead and get that. So yeah, it's all okay. You could get them to work with someone on more of a one-to-one, so they're there with them. It's always nice for the child to feel more comfortable. And the main thing is that they want to change. Now, it may seem silly for us to go, well, why wouldn't they want to change? Because they're experiencing this pain. Well, sometimes they don't know why, right? They don't know the value in it. So I would just really make sure that they want to let this go. They realize that they don't have to live this way. Sometimes they think it's normal and natural to be in that fear-based, anxious-based thinking. And we want to be able to get them to go, that's not who I am. That's something that I went through. And then if they're ready, because if you think about the previous question of staying focused or not, well, if they're totally not focused and they're thinking about, oh, I don't want to be here, don't want to do this, don't want to be listening, then there's a lack of rapport in the hypnosis session and the child or the teenager. They've got to be open-minded, listening to go, yeah, I really want this. But yes, hypnosis can be profound when it comes to things like that. If they are young, I'd always make sure that the guardian is with them if they're working with someone on a one-to-one level. It just keeps everyone safe, right? Because that's very important to me. Tanya says, is there a way to check how hypnotizable a person is? Yes. There are subtle things that we can either observe as a hypnotist, which would be the slowing of a pulse or slowing more overtly the breathing. It could be the rapid eye movement, which will indicate a level of trance. But there are some actual demonstrations that you could do, which would be, in the past, they can put a little needle through the hand. You can numb parts of the body, therefore, and then test. You've seen like the stage hypnosis. All of those things are evidence of that someone is hypnotized. The question is, to me, the real thing. It's not about how hypnotizable they are, because we think I gotta be deeply asleep. Like I gotta be out of it to be deeply hypnotized. You don't. Some of the work I get is in the lightest of trances, and that's what I love as well. It can be deep, but it can be very, very in a light trance. But there are depths of trance. And sometimes along the way, you can do certain tests. Like you can do actual tests with yourself out of trance, which is more suggestibility tests. You may be aware of them. Like you could imagine, or you could put both of your hands out in front of you, turn one facing up and one down. And then with your eyes closed, you would imagine like 10 books on the hand, which is being, looking up to the sky, like palm faced open. And then on the other hand, which is kind of flipped around, palm face down, you can imagine some balloons there. And that's getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and the hand with the books on it, the imaginary books, are getting heavier and heavier and heavier. Now, for some people, as you think about that now and feel the weight in the one hand and feel the lightness on the other, there'll be a movement when you open your eyes. You'll see that one is higher than the other. Usually be an extension of that. I'll do that for a few minutes, and it can be dramatic. Doesn't mean they're less hypnotizable. It's just a suggestibility test. I've got plenty of them that you could do. But to me, it's less about the suggestibility and more about the results that you get. And that is what you get outside of the hypnotic experience. That to me shows that they've been hypnotizable or suggestible to get the result that they really, really need. The results. That's what I look for. But there are different ways that you can check when it comes to how hypnotizable they are. Can you have a gold desire? I did actually answer that one already when it comes to using hypnosis. Hannah says, can you suggest something for releasing guilt and sadness? Well, let me give you just the idea of why we keep, and I'll broaden it out for everyone: anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, shame, and fill in the gap. We store those emotions to try to protect us. Anger is a protective mechanism. Like if we get triggered, we don't want to get hurt. If we think of things like guilt and shame, it's so we don't do something bad again. Fear, we know, is protection. Even sadness, we keep that sadness in case we may get hurt again. So if we think of those emotions at an unconscious level, they're being held for protection. And to me, the only way you can let go of those emotions is by upgrading the system to have the necessary learnings that are needed. Think about it for a moment. If you had the necessary learnings at an unconscious level, what would happen? Well, you'd be safer. You'd be in that situation and you'd have known what had to be done. You'd have the insights, the epiphanies, and all those things. And therefore, the unwarranted and inappropriate emotion will disappear. So I'm not saying you'll never feel that emotion again, because it's sometimes okay to be fearful, to be safe. If someone bops you on the nose, you might get a little bit angry at first, right? As a protective mechanism. But we can resolve the inappropriate or the unwarranted or the overwhelming emotion. And we do that by a process of preserving learnings. And how do we do that in hypnosis? Well, I've got a track, and it is called the Negative Emotion Release. So I'll download the app if you haven't already and listen to that, because when I created it, it was geared about preserving learnings to protect you in a different way. Remember, those emotions are there to try to protect you. Your unconscious mind's trying to protect you, so we've got to offer it a different way of being safe, and therefore it has to change. So the Negative Emotional Release hypnosis session within the app at freehypnosis.app, freehypnosis.app, you'll be able to find the relevant links to download the app right there. But you can, it's about preserving learnings. Do you think that it's important to view yourself as a leader to have success, or is it okay not to? You do not have to be a leader to have success, no. There are many people who are not leaders who are very, very successful in what they do. They can just be a leader of their own selves. They don't have to be a leader of other people. If you think about throughout every person who you see as a leader, for example, whether it be like a presidential person, or whether it be in the forces, or whether it be in the tech industry, even like the Steve Jobs, these are, say, overt leaders. They're like at the higher position, or at least in positions of power which manage people. Well, the people who do a lot of the work, the real stuff, they still get the results. They still get the success that they want. So you absolutely do not need to be a leader to get success. You just got to know what you want. You got to work on building the talent to get to what you want, and then do the work in letting go of resistance to getting the goal and the success that you want. But you absolutely do not have to be a leader when it comes to being able to achieve goals. And sometimes, if you're a leader in some things, you're not going to be a leader in everything, right? Just because you're a leader of a Fortune 500 company, in other areas of their life, they may be the follower, right? Maybe it could be within the family atmosphere. Maybe it's in relationships. Maybe it's with their friends. Yet they can still produce success. So think about it in different compartments, and also realize you absolutely do not need to be a leader. The trait of being a leader can be helpful because there is a driving force behind it. But that's just an attribute maybe of a leader, whereas everyone can still have a driving force if they work on themselves without being a leader, if that makes sense. So most leaders will have the component or attribute of being in control and driven and excited and purposeful. But there are many people who aren't leaders who still have those attributes when they're getting their success. Okay, so hopefully that answered that question. What would I have gone if I hadn't gone into the area of work, say for example hypnosis and teaching people my program and everything? What would I have done? I would probably be in the same job I was in, which was, I did have goals, and I was in insurance, like corporate insurance. So what I was doing was managing at a very, very low level at like 17 years old of corporate insurance for fleets, so as in cars, and as for the small business version rather than the big corporations. I would have stayed there and did my best to work up into management. My goal was to hopefully be a director one day. That was what I was doing. Would I have changed? Maybe. To other things, maybe, but at that present time, I would have just stayed in that because there was a path for me, and I did want to still be successful, despite dropping out of business college, or not turning up for the exams, I guess, too. That usually is a requirement to achieve. But that was because of my issues, though. Okay. So there's from Dylan saying, what got me into hypnosis all those years ago? So that was 22 years ago. My, speaking of, dropped out of college. I used to blush. I was very self-conscious. I used to have dread, anxiety. Typically, the fear of failure, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of success, the fear of rejection, the fear of what people thought of me. And that led into beliefs, things like I'm not good enough, I'm not capable, and all those symptoms that I mentioned. And one day my dad, who was practicing hypnosis as a hobby, said, look, hypnosis has been very, very helpful. Go on this course. So I went on this course, and I was living in Cambridge at the time, and it was all the way up in Scarborough by Wilf Proudfoot. He passed away quite a few years ago, but he was an amazing entrepreneur and hypnotherapist, or teacher and hypnotherapist too. And I took that big journey in my 1-liter turquoise green Vauxhall Nova all the way up. And back then, there was all these roundabouts, not like just a main motorway or a highway, we may say in America. And it was one of the biggest things I ever done. But I went there to just see if I could figure what I was going for and how I could let it out. And my dad said, hopefully you're going to like as many trances to be able to figure this out. But on the way back from Scarborough, my 1-liter turquoise green, couldn't go over like 60 mile an hour type of car. It was literally a tin. And on the way back, traveling from like 7 p.m. all the way, it was like a 4 or 5 hour drive back then, which for England, by the way, for those in America, is a huge journey. Like I used to think like 45 minutes is a long journey. Go to America and it's like 6 hours is just okay. But on that long journey home for me as a 18-year-old, I decided this is what I want to do for a living, to help as many people. So then I started my practice, and then I created my things like my trainings and my seminars, which had led to my podcast, my YouTube, led to the app, and it led to my main 8-week system, like fully customized, teaching people to do what I do. All of those things, writing a book like Be Your Potential and getting it published by Hay House. all started because my pain. So think about that as an answer. Maybe the pains that you go through will be your biggest awakenings, will be your biggest opportunities to grow. How cool would that be if you saw your issue as an instigator of change? Because usually we think it as the prison around us. But for me, it caused me to wake up. And it then led me, and I had to take massive action, invest a lot of money, and get good at business and all those things. But along the way, it allowed me to do this. So my pain, not feeling good enough, worthy or deserving, helped me wake up to do what I'm doing, which has now hit like 2 million downloads or views on the YouTube, 19,000 subscribers. But on the podcast, more importantly, 180,000 downloads a month, over 13 million total downloads into the wild. So if it wasn't for my issue, that I don't think would have existed. So have that as a little bit of a reframe. Does hypnosis work for everybody? 2 conditions. Real quick answer. They can listen and follow instructions is one, right? So say, for example, we're going back to the child analogy. If they're not paying attention, they're like 6 years old and they're just like not listening at all, they're not going to be that hypnotizable, right? So you got to have the intention to listen and follow instructions. And the other one is you got to want to change, right? You got to want to change. You want to let go of the problem. If, in my opinion, you want to let go of the problem, you're willing to listen and follow instructions. They're kind of like 3, but kind of 2. Then I believe you can get the result. The reason why it doesn't work for everyone is you're not working with the right person who understands the issue. You're not working on the real issue. You're focusing on the symptom, which a lot of sad, unfortunately, therapists just work on the symptoms that they go through. Oh, I feel anxiety. Well, let's just work on anxiety. No, what's the creation behind the anxiety? We do a deep dive in my program to make sure we know we're working on the cause. Same thing working with a doctor, right? You won't just get pills to treat your symptoms. You have to have 10 of them for the rest of your day, maybe twice a day for the rest of your life, just to be okay or to manage them. A good doctor would find the root cause which generates the symptoms, and therefore that will make the change. So I like to operate that way. But that could be a reason as to why hypnosis doesn't work. You're not working with the right person, the skilled person, the trained person, the confident trained person, or the lack of confident, and most importantly, not working on the real issue. But if you're willing to want to change, listen to instructions, you will make that change that you really, really want. Okay, let's go ahead and see. Do hypnosis sessions work better on some days and not others? It can be depending. So yes, I would say yes, it can do. And it goes back to that question, how coachable am I as a hypnotist? Do I want to be here? Do I want to listen? Do I want to kind of dwell in my pain? Do I want to prefer to hang out with my friends? So it kind of goes back to the desire, the will of listening and following instructions. So it's a good follow-on question there. So sometimes they can be better than the other. Sometimes on top of that, if we're in an anxious state, sometimes it's better just to stop that for a moment or like let it kind of pan out and then listen to the hypnosis track. But think about it as an analogy. Sometimes I don't want to work out. I don't want to go for a 4-mile run. Sometimes I've got to listen to my body because my body is saying, look, you did 4 miles yesterday. You did 4 miles before that. You've been working crazy hard. Maybe it's a restoration workout that I need, like stretching, light movement, or just walking. I've got to pay attention to that. Sometimes when I haven't, I've had very, very severe, not severe, but back issues, which I feel like are severe, has put me out from running or working out. So we got to listen to our body in many, many ways as well. Just like we would when we're working out. But we got to decipher the difference between going, am I just being using excuses, not really wanting to put the work, or do I just need to just kind of stop for a moment and then do it in a half hour to do it the next morning? Like, You want to decipher that level of energy of what is true and what is not true, okay? Are all phobias curable? In my opinion, yes. I was actually invited on a TV show in England called, and look on my YouTube channel, look at one of the oldest videos, it will be there. I was a bit of a youngster and I let go of, on the filming day, it was like 5 phobias. They only showed 2 or 3 in the ITV Tonight Show. And the ones I let go in 10 minutes, because that was our goal, 10 minutes or less, was a snake phobia, dog phobia, a rat phobia, a spider phobia, and there was another phobia that I actually cannot remember. Maybe there was just 4, but I think that, did I say dog phobia? Anyway, there's 5, I'm sure of it. And I had to let them go within 10 minutes to make it very, very, you know, if it takes hours and hours, I'm not going to be on the TV show. So I had to do it in different ways to each person. And you can find that on YouTube. So I believe every phobia can be released. Now, why? Let's go back to the positive intention of protection. Having an irrational, severe reaction to something, like a dog or a snake or heights or flying, is a protective mechanism. Somewhere along the line, you've been conditioned, see dog, feel fear. Maybe it was that one big event, a significant emotional event where maybe we were being playful with a dog and they kind of snapped at us. And as a kid, we were like, that's the worst thing in the world. We make a decision that, all dogs are scary. So that one little puppy, overexcited puppy, because you were overexcited, snapped at you. And suddenly the brain goes, oh my goodness, all dogs. So a generalization are bad. One bad flying experience could mean all flights are dangerous. And it doesn't even have to be an event that you've been through. So there's a story which my dad was telling me about, and that was that they thought they had a spider phobia when they saw about 10 years old someone like chase them with a spider, like another school kid chasing them with a spider. And they thought that's where it came from. But the original point of that phobia was not that they ever saw a spider. It was when their dad came down from the attic, white as a ghost, thinking, or he probably did see, that there was a spider there. And then the child was like, oh my goodness, if my dad's scared of spiders, I should definitely be. So that girl was not even around a spider, but a decision was made based on the transference of that environment, what they modeled, they absorbed, caused them to have a phobia. Isn't that interesting? But go back to the main question. Can they go? Yes, because it's a protection mechanism. Therefore, your unconscious mind's trying to protect you, but in this irrational way, even a dangerous way. It's not good to have a phobia on the motorway or the highway. Not very good to have those when you're driving. So that's why it's irrational. And the way you let it go is getting the unconscious mind, when it comes to phobias, is to preserve the learnings, but sometimes to, like a record, think of a record playing around, if you remember the records or the CDs, going round and round and round. That's what you're playing as a phobia. Sometimes you've got to take the record or CD off and scratch it and put it back on, and it'll never play that song. So therefore, that CD or the record, which was your phobia, can no longer be played because you've just messed up that first significant emotional event by also preserving the learnings. But you can let go of phobias very, very quickly, and as quick. My quickest one was probably about 3 or 4 minutes. And that was actually an interesting one, which was a banana phobia. Why did they have a banana phobia? I was actually hired to go to teach communication for a credit company. All right, so as part of their qualifications, and I'm a good communicator, that's what I do. And if you're a creditor, you need to be able to communicate with your sales team and also those that you're selling to or sold to. But they found out I was also a hypnotist. And they said, well, this guy said, I have a phobia of bananas. I was like, wow, that's an interesting one. I haven't heard of that one. I heard of like phobias of buttons, but not bananas. Now, the origin of that phobia was Catholic school. And the nun said, you will eat this banana. And I was like, the person was like, no, I don't want to eat a banana. So what they did every single day was mush up a banana and force feed that person a banana. So over time, they've got this association of being forced to eat something they disliked in a mushy way, which would probably be even worse than them eating it the normal way. And it conditioned them to every time they think of spiders, think of bananas, it would regress them unconsciously to the association of that forcing, being made to do something they didn't want to do, and the disgust of the smell and the taste and the texture of it all being mushed up. So what we did was just change how they associated it, and they brought in the banana, because it was a hotel, so it was easy to get from the buffet kind of section, and he ate it in front. Now, did he love the banana? I'll be honest, he didn't love it, but he could do it, and he ate the whole thing. He just wasn't in love with it. Maybe he is now, who knows? But making that change in a phobia can be just about safety, protection, and changing the association. Okay, let's go to another one. We are going through a lot right now. This should be a two-parter maybe. Does hypnosis work better during the day or the evening? It depends on you as a person. Some people like to listen in the morning. Some people like to listen at night. So to me, it's just your personal preference. It's not going to be a one size meets all or fits all. How do you know if a session has worked, especially if you fall asleep? Kind of going back to the question of how do you know when you're in trance? It's a results-based business. It's what you do out of the session, out of the hypnotic process that shows us the success. So I don't really care. Some clients have fallen asleep, and hopefully it wasn't because I'm boring, but they still get their result. Maybe they had to go that deep. Like I always say, I like to think the unconscious mind will take you to the depth of trance to produce the biggest amount of change, whether it be light or super deep. But as long as they get the results outside of, say, the therapy room or outside of the hypnotic audio session or something like that, then that's the main thing for me. I want them to make sure that they have that success outside of what I do. Okay, so now that was all the main questions. So let's go ahead and see what we've got right here. So this might be a bit of an edit. Oh, and this was a one earlier. So this is from Susie, who actually said, yes, hypnosis works. And they said this. This is going to be great for just confidence for everyone when it comes to hypnosis. And that was, I'm scrolling all the way back, it is a live podcast after all, lost 42 pounds. How amazing is that? And all credit for Susie for making that change, instigating it and listening to the works. I'm very appreciative of the kind words, but also that is an amazing job for you as well. So yes, hypnosis definitely works. It worked for me, and it works for so many people. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if there's any other questions right now. Let's see, I'm trying to speed through this as well, just for the audio recording, for those listening. Can we hear a repeat of this podcast? Yes, it'll be on the podcast and the app in a couple of weeks, but also on the YouTube. Once we've ended the stream, it'll be there for you. So that's all good. Paul says, I sometimes speak too fast. Tell me about it. I've been flying through this. And incoherent, same, I think. It can be frustrating and embarrassing for me. Do you have advice or hypnosis track? So, there is a free episode on the podcast, which is how to communicate effectively. If you leave a comment on this video, if I didn't say it correctly, it's way back, and I teach you how to communicate effectively, because it comes from different elements. 93% of all communication is unconscious. 7% is the words even. So if your cadence, your pitch, your speed, as you mentioned there, can create the incoherence, or say it's physiology, all of those things are going to have an effect. There is going to be, listening to that free episode is going to be really important. And I think I've also got a hypnosis session on communication as well. So that's what I would advise, and maybe listening to the public speaking one because I'm talking about doing that. If we're talking about advice outside of the audio and the hypnosis, the quickest way of doing it is rehearsal in your mind. So go ahead and imagine in your mind going throughout your day, slowing it down. When people speak, you see it for what it is, you think about the answer, and then you slow down. You're literally just imagining through seeing, hearing, feeling, and knowing how you would like to be, as if you're observing another you. It causes your unconscious mind to learn a new strategy. So visual rehearsal in the mind's eye is definitely going to slow things down. It's going to cause you just to still have maybe the energy behind the words, but without the speed behind them. So visual rehearsal, but also on top of that, the other ones, the podcast and the hypnosis sessions I said. Can it take up to 66 days for the brain to rewire for the desired outcome? I think that's, like, some people say 30. See it as a general rule. Everyone is different. So if you have a bigger conflict stopping you get a goal, say a ton of fear compared to someone else having a little bit of fear, the person with a little bit of fear may take a little bit less time, okay? Maybe a little bit less time. So have it as a general rule. That's why I say 30 nights or 30 hypnotic sessions each day. No, not 30 hypnotic sessions each day. 30 hypnotic sessions over 30 days, like every day. That's what I suggest, and then you can go from there. Does a longer duration of a session make it more effective? No, not in my opinion. Like I said, the phobia I've let go of in a few minutes. It's more about finding the right tool to let go of the one thing, right? So I don't go based on time. Sometimes we need the foundation, sometimes we need the length of to get there, the depth of trance maybe, if that was important. But I don't think length or duration is a vital part of getting successful in hypnosis results. Okay, let's just see. Sometimes when I can't sleep, I listen to your hypnosis sessions in the background and play guitar. Will the hypnosis still work? So, very, very clear. Please do not operate any form of machinery like driving or doing things where you need to pay attention when listening to hypnosis. Now, we're talking about the guitar here. So, have I listened to my own customized track when I'm in the shower? Yes. Have I listened to that when I'm running? Yes, I have personally. I take responsibility for that. Listening in the background while you're walking, it may get a good result because you're focused over here while the unconscious mind is coming in a different direction. But be responsible in how you apply hypnosis. That's the disclaimer. That's all on you. Do not do it if you feel like you're being put in harm's way. But it can be absorbing just like anything else. Just like any podcast, you could be driving and you can still gain insights from what those people are saying. Does hypnosis and meditation go hand in hand, especially when it comes to not thinking consciously about the words being said, but just to kind of accept them? So hypnosis and meditation, let's call them both trances, learning states. Meditation is about, in my opinion, I may be off, but I know meditation teachers, I do meditation here and there. It's more about being the observer of your own thoughts and letting them go, depending on the kind of meditation, of course, because there's different forms, just like there's different forms of hypnosis as well. So that will be that one level of just observing the thoughts and letting them go. Hypnosis, on the other hand, primarily based on someone else, whether it be another hypnotist or listening to a track, is about bypassing you. So that means you don't have to observe your thoughts. So that's where I see the dramatic difference. Now, they're both profoundly good. It's a reason why they're here today. I like being mindful through meditation. Even when you're walking, like being mindful in your experience is a form of meditation. I've known people who are teachers of eyes open meditation, right? So you're just observing everything around you. And sometimes in my seminars, I do a practice of that, of eyes open for meditation to know your relationship to yourself in this world. But those are ultimately the differences, but they come from the same level of energy, which is an altered state of learning. But they just come from different levels or vehicles of how to produce the same kind of result. Christine says, thank you. I'd like to hear again so I can take in all the answers. Oh, thank you, Tanya, who said, yeah, there'll be a replay. Will hypnosis work if I fall asleep at some point? In my opinion, yes. Now, there are different studies out there. One study, or a lot of studies have gone by, at least the first 60 minutes of sleep, your brain is in a heightened state of awareness to absorb sound and information. Beyond that 60 minutes, they say, it gets less. Not fully out, but it gets less in the absorption. But look, at the end of the day, if there was a bang on the door in the middle of the night, you've heard it. You're waking up. If your alarm goes off, you've heard it. If you hear something move in your room, you heard it and you wake up. So that means to me that the unconscious mind is always observing and listening. It's eavesdropping on everything. So even if it gets it on a more of a smaller level, the longer you're in a deep sleep even, you're still going to get the changes. So I would say yes, there are lots of studies out there saying sleep and hypnosis can do very well. One of the main ones I saw, first 60 minutes, as we go through these different states, alpha, beta, or we go through the REM, so rapid eye movement, light sleep, deep sleep, all those kind of things. The lighter you go, you're probably going to be more observant. The deeper you go to sleep, the less absorbent you will be. Okay? So, let's go ahead and see. So, Christine says, I'm on YouTube. What is the app? Well, if you go to, let's go ahead and bring it up, Ashley. If you go to freehypnosis.app, you get all these free episodes in there. We are doing a bug fix for some of the Android users right now, but you can create your own custom hypnosis sessions. You can go ahead and listen to hundreds of hypnosis sessions in there, and they're all in day and night form. Okay, so you just kind of put the toggle from the sun to the moon, and it changes it to a sleep session. So you listen to it as you go to sleep, and it's extended there. And you can also, as I said, create custom hypnosis sessions. And if you are getting value from any of my work, please leave a review. I'll be very, very grateful. It's just so we can help as many people as possible. So that is where you'll be able to find the app. It's on Apple and also Android. Mina says, thank you so much for the answer about leadership. I appreciate your perspective, and the part about resistance resonated with me. So pleased to hear it. Thank you for the new subscriber as well. Welcome, my friend. Krill, I think. Yes, so intent and desire is very important. Can hypnosis at night affect dreams after you fall asleep? Well, let's just take dreams as an example. To me, dreams, although they can be pretty random, but they're usually a form of a process, something that's been on your mind, very lightly to something very meaningful to you, right? So if you're going through a big stress in your life, you may have symbolic dreams about that, or things which could represent that, even if we're not consciously aware of that representation. That's why you got all those dream books. What does this mean if I see a dog in my dream or someone? And I don't know anything about dream work, by the way, or interpretation. But what I do know to be true is that your brain, your unconscious mind, as you sleep, will dream. And since it runs by symbols, symbolic representations, which are also dreams, your unconscious mind could be working out issues. So let's just say if you're listening to a hypnosis session as you go to sleep and you're specifically working on an issue, then it may lead to your unconscious mind to carry on that transformation in the form of having dreams. So it is possible. It is possible as to why it could affect your dreams. Okay, let's go ahead. Can you improve your health through hypnosis? Yes, absolutely. Your unconscious mind is the biology of the mind, right? It is biology of mind as well, but the biology of the body. If you see a movie, your body reacts to it, whether it be a thriller, whether it be a sad story, it is always there. So if your unconscious mind is running the habits, the stresses, the strains, the regulation of the body, well, surely we can get it to regulate differently, change the neurological association. There's tons of studies on this. If you check out a friend of mine, actually, Dr. David Hamilton, he's done a ton of books on the physical aspects of transformation beyond hypnosis. Just like in double-blind tests, he actually started out in the pharmaceutical world, and with the double-blind tests of like the placebo pills and things like that, it led him on this huge journey of writing books for Hay House, all on studies about how the body reacts to certain things. If you think about it, with the placebo drug, the body, if the person's told it will do X, Y, Z, although it's just like a sugar pill, the body can respond that way. So the body is always responding to the suggestions that we have. If we always keep going, oh, that person's a pain in my back, pain in my neck, pain in my back, well, that can be hypnotic suggestions for you to physically feel something. So if we have the alternative, the positive suggestions, then that will also change our neurology too. Once again, it's important to resolve the root cause when it comes to that. Okay, let's go ahead and see if there's any more questions. So I kind of mentioned this a little bit, but can hypnosis work on a 5-year-old? Now, let's go back to the original question, hypnosis. It works at everyone, but they got to be wanting to listen, and they got to be following instructions, right? They got to be able to be wanting to change, wanting to listen, and follow instructions. Maybe a 5-year-old wouldn't be necessary. Doesn't mean it won't work. No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. I mean, if you play positive, calming sounds, then you pick that up as you go to sleep, right? It's just what we do on a neurological level. But I would always check with your general practitioner to make sure it's all good. Obviously, to assume responsibility at being the guardian to your child, for example. But I'm always open-minded as well, because I've heard so many good feedback from people who've said what transformation is happening for their teenager or child and so on. You are most welcome. So Susie saying, thank you, most welcome. Do we have to wear earbuds? Not necessarily. Do I prefer them? Yes, I would prefer them. In what areas is hypnosis used today? Well, it can be used in many different areas, from stage hypnosis to therapeutic hypnosis. I've trained, and great to have you here, Kirsten, as well. I've trained up dentists to be able to do pain management, especially those who are fearful of injections or allergic to certain medications for the anesthesia. So it can be really used for anything. It can be used for sales, it can be used for relationships, it can be used for confidence, esteem, health. Sports athletes are doing more and more hypnosis than ever before, from boxers as well. They hired people, even like Conor McGregor hired Tony Robbins a few years ago, and he was in the ring and everything. So really, hypnosis can be used in any situation. We've got to think about, well, what's the problem and what's the solution? Is the unconscious mind running it? And therefore, if it does, hypnosis can definitely serve it. But I can't really think of many places where hypnosis cannot be used. I don't think I've got a phobia hypnosis session for needle phobia. I do not have that. I can think about doing one in the future. Okay. When trying to overcome a phobia, do you have to know the event which potentially instigated it? No, definitely not. It's just a protective mechanism. If there was an event that you're aware, then yeah, we want to resolve the energetic tie and decision, but it's not necessarily needed. Only if it's there, we want to be able to work on it. If it's not there, we're getting the unconscious mind to be safe by changing the associations. This can also go into the subject of like talk therapy all the time. Some people can know everything about the fast event and still feel the issue that they feel. So it's not about knowing everything. It's about just doing the work on the how, this moment. Like, how can we change right now? Because it's a strategy. Thank you, Sue, for saying a great session. We're on a marathon of a hypnosis Q&A right now. Most welcome, Paul. Let's just see. I'm just reading. What is a better hypnosis state for delta state, theta state, and alpha state? I don't actually know. If I don't know answers, I'll definitely let you know. But I don't think it's even that important. Like, I'm not trying to get them into a state of delta, because that means I'm out of the process. I want them just to change. I want them just to let go of the issue. And that's why it can be in the lightest state. I've done hypnosis with their eyes open. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. It could be when they're really, really deep. And those different alpha, beta, theta are just different representations of levels. I just think that just do the work on the real issue and the problem will disappear. There was another one about listening to earphones. I think I did say that one. As a preference, I would say so. So Dr. David Hamilton is great. He opened my mind to the Heal documentary because he was in it. Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza. Yeah. Sometimes had some... I won't talk about that. Yeah, Dr. David Hamilton is awesome. Okay, so some people have got to go. I've got to go myself soon. Great to have you here, Michelle. Can a hypnotist with not so good intentions cause harm by their suggestion? Absolutely. If they're not very good at what they do, and they've just learned how to induce a trance, and they keep on going, you won't be fearful of all those spiders. You won't be fearful of all those dogs. If they don't get the right learnings, if they don't find the root cause, they can do all sorts of craziness. You got to be working with someone who knows their stuff, in my opinion. Not to like say that people who are starting out hypnosis can't do that. They can, but they got to be trained by the right people to do that. But anyone can like pick up a book on hypnosis and think they're a hypnotist and do not good things. Leah says, this has been great. Well, thank you for being here. And I think we did it. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. We've been streaming, just so you know, for those listening, for an hour and 37 minutes. Whew. So this might have to be a two-parter on the replay. We'll see. But thank you ever so much for being here. We'll close off this podcast. If you ever need my help, go to josephclough.info/talk, and therefore you can apply to work me. But we only work on like the imposter syndrome, not good enough, worthy, deserving, and you got to be very invested in yourself. It is a fully customized program, okay? On that time, you'll book a call with us. You'll get clear on exactly what you want to let go of, where you want to be, what's getting in the way, and come up with the solution to make it a reality. You've just got to, once again, be invested in it. There's no free program. This is a program which will transform your life to a level that you can never imagine. But if you're not quite ready for that, I say go ahead and download that app at freehypnosis.app. Get all the free stuff in there. Get all the lower amounts. It's just $3 or $4, I think, or unlock the whole app as well at freehypnosis.app. So with that, I look forward to speaking to you on a future podcast. Many thanks and goodbye. Okay, I need to hydrate. We did it. We did it, everybody. We did it. We did it. We did it. There was a question. You're most welcome. Time did fly by. Whew. Awesome. Oops, there we go. Thank you. I felt like I may have been going too fast, but I wanted to get through it all. That is worth the big rave. What do I do for fun? I do this for fun. I do this for fun. Other things I do for fun. I haven't done it for a while. I like eating out. I love running. I do watch football. Not the American football, but football. The real football. Oh, I had my trans voice going there. I hope that wasn't the whole time. It wasn't. Yeah, I like watching football. I used to play a bit of football when I was younger. And no car insurance. I like learning business, like, so I can help more people. Yeah. I actually support Blackburn Rovers. We're not doing that. Oh, we're actually doing, we're like third or fourth in the championship. We kind of fluctuate. So we could go back to Premiership. Maybe. But yeah, that's who I support. Do I have an opinion on chain restaurants? I don't eat at chain restaurants. Like, I've not had McDonald's, or I've probably only had KFC once or twice in my life in England. So I can't really comment on them. Not as many though. Oh my goodness, when I came over here seeing like the 20 chains, in England you get like one Pizza Hut. Or say you're in, say, my town, my city. It'd be like one Pizza Hut, one KFC, 2 McDonald's, and that was pretty much it, and a Burger King. Hey Ron, great to have you here. Any OCD, health anxiety hypnosis? Yes, if you go onto the app and search health anxiety or OCD, there's hypnosis sessions in both day and night form. All you gotta do is go to the app, which is a hypnosis, freehypnosis.app, and it'll take you to the link, or just search my name on the App Store and it'll come up there. In the hypnosis section, we've got one specifically for OCD and one for health anxiety. Now, my dad and brother supported that. Tottenham. Not doing the best at the moment with your manager, though, are you? Great stadium, but manager and Levy. Okay, my friends. I think we'll leave it at that, so I get to relax. Sound good? Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and then I will relax. I cannot believe we've streamed for 1 hour and 43 minutes. Yeah, it's not just him, it's the one above him, right? I don't know his name though. Thank you, Caroline. You have a great weekend. And yeah, I need to relax. I need to get this edited before I finish. But yeah, thank you all for being here. Hit the like button. And I'll speak to you on Monday and Wednesday. And then I'm taking Friday and Monday off at the very least for next weekend to spend time with my family who are coming to see me. I know I do this. I kind of do it for free. I get a little bit of AdSense. But not on the live streams though, to be honest. I bet you over a month time, this live stream would earn me 20 cents. If that. Maybe a cent or two. like a few pennies. But some of my uploads do make more money than that. But yeah, but it helps people. It's content for the free app as well. A lot of people found me via the free content. So it's awesome. I cannot complain unless my back complains. Thank you ever so much. Nice, I like it. Yes, good night. Goodbye, everyone. And I will see you all on Monday. Many thanks and goodbye. Oh, on Monday, for those in England, it'll be 11 p.m. Back to the normal time. Okay, you'll see it on the next screen. No one, just so you know, no one is obligated to donate. I'm happy investing my finances into like the app development. I know we had some issues, but I'm committed to do this for free. I'm spending around 7 hours a week on the live stream stuff, which is like a working day. Well, not working, almost a working day. This week's been more than a working day. But I'm happy to do that as long as people are happily enjoying it. So feel free to go, I'm just going to use all the free stuff. That's what it's there for. Yes. Bye all. Yep. Back to 11 p.m. And Tanya, I'll speak to you tomorrow on the live group coaching call. Speak to you all soon. Many thanks and goodbye.